The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Tucson Fire Department, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36490. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the face of the bumper on the passenger and driver's side, you'll find dual air horns. Moving toward the center of the face of the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the cab face, you'll find your unit identifier 22. Moving to the outer edge of the cab, you'll find a clearance marker light. Just inside that location is your headlight structure, housing low and high beam headlights. Above that, you'll find a turn arrow indicator and an emergency warning light cluster. As we move up to the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. And to the outer edge, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights. Located in the center, you'll find a forward-facing brow light. And then just up on top of the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light. Located inside the emergency warning light is your Opticom system. Let's move around to the driver's side of the vehicle, full view, and then we'll go ahead and focus in on the cab section of the vehicle, first starting with the front wheel, where you have a visual sight gauge indicator located in the center of the axle area. You'll also find on the A-pillar an emergency warning light, part of the lower zone. Just up from that location is your turn indicator marker light. Easily accessible with a gloved hand, these are the door lock and latch. And then right next to that is where you'll find the grab handle for gaining entry in and out of the cab. As we move just over the front tire, you'll find the red auto eject plug. This is your shoreline inlet, and the blue is for your air conditioning shoreline inlet. You'll also find an emergency warning light right next to that. Let's go ahead and move now to the body section of the vehicle, point out just a few items, first starting with emergency warning lights in the upper zone, and then also right next to that is where you'll find the side-facing scene lights. As we move down from that location, you'll find a driver's side exhaust, and then just up from that location, you'll find fill locations for your DEF and ultra low sulfur diesel. As we move around to the rear, you'll find at the top a stop, turn, reverse, and emergency light combination. At the very top section, you'll find a rear-facing emergency warning light, and at the very top section, you'll find a rear scene light. You do have a backup camera located directly over the door, and then just above that, you'll find your traffic advisor at the very top section of the roof line. Let's move around to the passenger side of the vehicle. Same configuration and layout. As we move to the cab section, same configuration and layout on this side. Let's go back to the body section. I would like to point out you do have a canopy located in the upper section or awning. And then also, of course, your access door located here into the front section of the body. Let's go ahead and go inside the driver's space. First, we'll start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning placard information. Just above that, you'll find the door lock and latch. And then above that location, you'll find your electric window control and grab handle. Let's move downward into the stepwell area where you'll find an air inlet. And then we'll move to the base of the seat area for a general view. And just at the base of the seat is where you'll find your battery voltage indicator. This is when plugged into shoreline power, this will become active. You'll also find this yellow placard indicating the manufacturer of the vehicle for the city of Tucson, date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of the fluid capacities and fluid type, and the amount. As we move to the floor, you'll find right next to the steering column on the left side a foot pedal for the air horn. As we move to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find the master battery switch, quarter turn, also the engine transmission J1939 diagnostic port. Just beneath that, you'll find some switches. Let's start first with your ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit. On the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find a switch labeled load manager. And let's move now to the dash area, starting on the left-hand side of the dash with the start and ignition switch. Just inside that location, you'll find a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights, along with your headlights and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview. On the opposite, high idle indicator and switch. As we move up, you'll find your transmission oil, def, and water temperature. On the right, you'll find front air, rear air, fuel, and volts. Located in the center, you'll find the speedometer and tachometer. Diagnostic information regarding your vehicle will display above and also below the speedometer. Let's take a quick look just to the right, just as a preview. And then we'll identify some of these items within this area. Let's first start with a monitor screen for your backup camera. And then also right next to it, you'll find your windshield wiper control and also push for windshield wiper fluid. As we move just to the right, you'll find a few switches. First, we'll start with the engine brake on and off, a setting switch for that engine brake for high, medium, and low, a siren horn selector, and then generator PTO. Also mirror heat. Let's move down from this location where you'll find the pull to apply your system parking brake. It is the yellow diamond. And then just to the right is your Allison transmission pad push button with a digital readout. It also has an informational note to the right-hand side regarding disengaging any retarder when active on slippery surfaces. As we move down, you'll find your flat mirror control for the right and left mirror. Also climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find a red protected switch. This is the reset for your MDT mobile data terminal. As we move overhead, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 11 feet 6 inches. The length of the vehicle, 36 feet 3 inches. Gross vehicle weight rating is 42,000 pounds. Moving further to the right, we have some switches located here for Emergency Master, roof light, front warning lights, side warning lights, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When any of these switches have been activated, the green light will illuminate, indicating that the switch is active. Moving just to the right of that location, you'll find the high beam flash, a separate Opticom switch, which is once again in the center of your light bar, front flood, driver scene, passenger scene, and rear scene. You'll also find just to the right of this location your unit radio. And then further to the right, this is more toward the center, you'll find the traffic advisor. As we look toward the center overhead area, you'll find a unbelted seat occupied indicator, also seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. Also, do not move your apparatus when these lights are on, indicating a open or door ajar. Also, for the driver's side rear door has a separate indicator. As we move toward the center, you'll find your electronic siren control and PA speaker system. Let's go ahead and move now to a general view, push on and off white and red lens lights. And as we move back to the exterior, you'll find once again Michelin tires, Alcoa wheels, and a visual sight indicator in the center for your axle. Close up here of the shoreline inlet, this is a battery charge receptacle for the red, indicating the light below that it's plugged in and active. Also shoreline inlet for your air conditioner for the body, it's blue, and also a light indicating that it's active. As we move to the rear, you'll find once again affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and electric window control, and a grab handle. As we move inside, you'll find on the left side here a roll-up compartment. There are individual shelves inside, and then overhead you'll find once again push on or off red lens or white lens, and then also some additional lighting inside in the very top section. Here's a close-up of the upper section here. In the front area or top is the air conditioner unit. And then as we move to the rear wall of the cab area, you'll find the fold-down bench seats. This is the EMS compartment that we referred to earlier. Adjustable shelving, LED lighting. Also in this compartment, you'll find a 12-volt access bus panel. You'll also find climate control located here in the rear wall of the EMS compartment. As we move to the center section, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access into the rear section of the engine. This is for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Just to the right or directly behind the officer seat, you'll find when plugged into Shoreline Power, these outlet buses will be active. Behind the EMS compartment area, you'll find an additional bracket for your radio, and then also you'll find your cradle point located in the upper portion of that bracket. General view here of the rear section of the cab wall. Let's go ahead and move to the exterior. All compartment doors are open. Just a quick glance inside. We'll start first with the compartment toward the front of the vehicle. This is going to be located in the lower section body. And inside this compartment is where you're going to find Shoreline outlets. When plugged into Shoreline Power, your battery charger for your apparatus batteries will maintain this with this charger. As we move to the lower section, you'll find an additional compartment in the lower area. Moving back up to the next compartment toward the rear, once again you'll find LED lighting and ventilation within these compartment spaces, and in the lower section additional storage. Let's move to the next compartment where you have 3 shelves. The uppermost compartment shelf is a pull-out and tilt-down 30-degree, and then also a fixed shelf which is also adjustable. And then at the very bottom section, you'll find the release mechanism for the pull-out tray on the lower right-hand side. As we move just inside the compartment, this is where you're going to find the storage location for your water tank for your gross decon. As we move just below this, you'll find your exhaust. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you choose to park your vehicle. Also, as we move to the forward section of the rear axle, you'll find the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. To the rear of the axle is where you'll find the silver cap, ultra low sulfur diesel fill. Just above that, you'll find the connection and on-off for your gross decon. Above that, you'll find your air compressor for breathing air. A couple close-ups here. This is the 4.5 US gallon DEF tank, once again blue cap. As we move toward the rear, you'll find Alcoa wheels, Michelin tires. This is a tandem axle. And then just up from this location is where you're going to find your ultra low sulfur diesel fill, silver cap, and then also the driver's side discharge for your gross decon. Just to the right of this location, you're also going to find the garden hose pump. That is the activation switch with a green indicator indicating that it is on. As we move to the rear compartment, this is where all of your electrical power is located. This is the breaker panel. Also, you'll find a 300-foot electrical cord reel. And then as we move downward, you'll find your light tower control module, and then also a pull-out tray release mechanism located on the lower right-hand side. As we move to the very bottom section, just to the rear of the axle, you'll find an additional compartment. This is for your sanitation controls. You'll also find the reel reset. This is up at the very top section for the electrical cord reel. Once again, 300-foot electrical cord reel. As we move to the breakers, you'll find S1A and the identifiers located within that breaker panel, and then also the S2A, which is going to be your air conditioning for your body of the vehicle. Also, you'll find the PTO engaged indicator, and then also a check transmission, an audible alarm. The outer edge of this bezel does rotate to allow you to brighten or dampen sound. Also, this is for the G1, which is your generator. And then as we move down to the very bottom section, a holder here for your Welbert light mast tower. The shelf does pull completely out. The release is located on the far right-hand side. This is the cord reel rewind for that electrical cord reel. Once again, 300 feet, 20 amp. Let's move downward from this location to the very bottom section of the compartment where you'll find an additional compartment. This houses all of your controls for your sanitary system. There are also clearly depicting instructions for each of those, and they are located on the lower section of the pan door. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus. This is the access location into the restroom area. As we move just to the left side, you'll find a remote. This is 1 stop, 2 go, and 3 back up. It's an activation buzzer. As we move inside, you'll find rear scene and driver's side scene lights. And then also you'll find within this area at the very bottom section a pull out and drop down step for gaining access into that first step into the rear compartment. Let's go ahead and move inside the compartment space here at the rear, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the items within here. We have additional storage locations. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find a mirror. This is directly over the sink that's located just down at waist height. And then just to the left is where you'll find the toilet located in the lower section. There are also controls within this space. First, let's start with exhaust fan and ceiling lights, and then also tank information on the system. Additional access door to gain access into your compressor area where the hose reel is located for your breathing air. Let's go ahead and take a look at the exterior on the passenger side where you'll find step lights and then also passenger scene lights. As we move to the exterior on the full passenger side, all compartment doors are open. Let's start in the very rearmost compartment at the very top. And this is where you'll find your breathing air extension 300 feet in length. And then just beneath that, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location with netting. And then just to the right, you'll find your compressed air module. Close-ups here of the items we just talked about. First, starting at the top. Push button for the electric of the cord reel, and then also a reset for the electric motor in the upper portion of that compartment. And then also, once again, 200 feet of 1/4-inch breathing hose. I think I may have said 300, but it's 200. Control module here, panel for your compressed air. And then also the access to bays 1, 2, and 3 for fill stations for compressed air. Let's move forward to this location where you'll find the access door. This is just to the rear of the rear axle. This is the gross decon and fill location for that water tank, and then also 2 SCBA bottle storage locations. This is the housing unit for the compressed air. As we move down, you'll find the garden hose pump. That's for the gross decon area. And then as we move to the right, you'll find the passenger side discharge and then also freshwater fill location for that gross decon. As we move to the rear axle, once again, Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. As we move just up from this location, you'll find SCBA bottle storage. And then let's go ahead and move into the compartments now. First, you'll find at the very top section a pull-out tray. This is a 30-degree tilt downward for gaining access. Additional SCBA bottle storage locations with netting. And then also at the very bottom section, you'll find a pull-out tray release mechanism located on the right. And then just on the vertical side sheet here is where you'll find the cartridges for your breathing air. This is the shelf in the deployed position, pulls out and tilts downward. And then also this is the deployment of the cartridges for easy access for maintenance. SCBA bottle storage with netting. As we move to the very bottom compartment area, behind the shelf on the vertical rear wall, there is additional access. This is access to the water fill location valve. As we move to the forward section of the vertical wall, this is where you'll find a shoreline generated outlet, and then also an indicator for in and out and operation for your awning. In the lower section, pull-out tray deployed, release mechanism on the lower right. Just underneath this compartment is where you'll find an additional storage compartment. Let's move up from this location into the next compartment where you'll find ventilation and LED lighting. Also within this compartment is where you'll find your awning power plugged into this 15 amp outlet. Also on the opposite side, you'll find your cab lift, their instructions for its operation for raising and also lowering. And we also have some additional caution and danger placard information on that device. As we move now into the body section inside, first a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and also grab handles for gaining access. We do have fold down seats located within this area. Also within that overhead, we have air conditioning and also sufficient lighting. As we move to the seated area, you'll also find USB connections via 12 volt. And then also just beneath that, you'll find additional tie-down attachment points. As we move overhead, you'll find compartmented space and then also climate control. We also have some information here regarding caution, ensuring your door is open. This is for activation or override of your step. Grab handles at each point. The red portion is a grab handle for gaining access in and out. As we move to the very bottom section, this is where you're going to find those USB plugs for charging devices. Those are 12 volt. And then also as we look, we have a window that does open. And then also powered in the very top section, center compartment. This is for shoreline and also generated power. This is the rear wall where you have compartments and also generated shoreline power. Close-up of the USB connection. And then let's go ahead and look overhead just for a general view. Air conditioning within this area, and then of course well-lit area with lights. Let's go ahead and move now into the rear section of the cab area where you'll find a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and window control. Air conditioning within this space, not only 12 volt, but also 110 power air conditioning. Sufficient seating within this area on the rear wall. As we move to the forward section, you'll find on the driver's side an additional roll-up compartment. As we move exterior, once again, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheels, visual sight gauge indicator on the front axle. Let's move now into the officer space. As we move into that space, you'll find a fixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and electric window controls. As we move into the space, general view overhead, push on and off white and red lens lights located over the seat area. As we move to the forward section, we do have additional items within this area. First, let's look under the bottom section where you'll find your Firecom wireless base station control module system, and then also the Firecom control module here for volume and squelch. As we move overhead in this area, you'll find seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they are seated and belted. You'll also find do not move apparatus lights when they are on for the compartments, and then also the rear compartment doors. You will find these red and white labeled identifier stickers located throughout the vehicle. These are indicating there is loose wire in this area. It also tells you the loose wire and what it's active for. On the side, you'll find an air horn foot pedal that's located on the side of the doghouse. And then also, once again, those warning indicators indicating there's loose wires that are terminated behind those panels. On the far right, you'll find your fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. We do have a seat pedestal riser and also a compartment within the base of the seat area. The next set of images that we're going to go through are helpful images for you for visualization with the cab in the full upright or tilted position. You'll find your batteries to the rear section of the front axle. As we move through the next set of images, we'll go through some of the cab raising helpful instructions. Remember, when in the process of raising the cab, stand clear of the cab while it is in operation. Also, once the cab has been fully lifted where pressure is behind both the passenger and driver's side lift cylinder, on the driver's side there is an additional safety bar that should be put into place when the cab is fully tilted. Just as a reminder, do not lower the cab back down onto that safety bar. Maintain full pressure on the cab lift cylinders. As we move to the door area, you'll find positive and negative jumper studs. This is also the location here of the hydraulic reservoir for the tilt of the cab area and also manual tilt. To the front section of the rear axle is where you'll find your exhaust. Also in the rear, you'll find work lights located in the compartment area underneath. And then also you'll find an attachment point here for tow bars. This will conclude the additional images of the undersection, chassis, and body area. Congratulations, Tucson Fire Department, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36490. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.